Hello, everyone. My name is Ahad Hussain, and welcome to Titan Alumni Talks, a weekly podcast where we talk to alumni about their journey as a Titan and where they are today. Having been established in 1957, Cal State Fullerton is now nearing 300,000 alumni. Because we are a family of Titans, we should ask the question, who are our alumni? Join me every week as we meet some of our CSUF alumni from various industries to answer this question. For today's episode, we have Kara Lazauskas as our guest. She graduated from Cal State Fullerton with a master's in muscle physiology in 2019, and she now works as a coach at Dog Pound in LA. So thank you, Kara, for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ahad. I appreciate it, and let's go Titans.
Yeah. So first of all, what do you do now at Dog Pound?
So right now, it's essentially a mix between the ex-phys life I know and love, training and coaching, everyone from the mom and dad, the businessman, to the star celebrity, to the professional athlete. So it's quite the variety, which creates a lot of autonomy in even an hour-to-hour basis of who's going to be in front of me and who I'm going to be connecting with and changing lives with.
I see. So how did you get into this whole personal training and coaching? How did you get into all of that?
I got into it really at a really young age. Ever since I can remember, I've always loved sports. I've always been questioning how I can perform better in fitness, perform better in sports, basketball especially. And so growing up, I always had a really big interest in the fitness industry. And it just translated into, I was one of the lucky ones who always knew I wanted to go to school for exercise science, for training and coaching and understanding the human body at a deeper level. And it all started just through sports, through loving changing my body, love being in the gym. It was such a purpose and passion of mine for selfish reasons at first, and then it turned into a very selfless reason where I want to now help others.
So how did you combat the whole social norm of women aren't supposed to be too into fitness or trying to go to muscle building?
I combat the norm by being myself and being authentically me. And as long as you're authentically yourself, people start to take notice and start to understand from their level of understanding, because people only understand from their level, not yours, of, oh, she's smart, she's done this, she's not super bulky, but she's lifting these weights, she's, eating normal amounts of food for her body and fueling herself, and she's performing well. Maybe it's not a stigma. Maybe it's something I should experiment with and attain to. And that all comes from being in an authentic place and allowing yourself just to be and not trying to force that conversation on others. Your work will speak for yourself, and then the conversation will start just based off your actions.
Your actions don't just affect the women, but they also affect how men see women in this field too.
Correct.
And it's also, you don't have to be vocal about it, or you're not trying to go out of your way to tell people about it. You could just be yourself in the gym or just be walking around, and then people will be more open-minded to this idea where women can come into this place where it was like male-dominated for so long, and it still is male-dominated, but now it's changing up when they see this.
Yeah, it's changing. It's changing ever so slightly, little by little victories. It is still a battle, but it's not a battle that's going to be won by being arrogant or being cocky or pounding, my chest or other females in saying that we need this, that, and the other thing, or else we're never going to get to the male level. We just have to prove it within ourselves, and that will showcase enough, and then the change will start to occur in the right direction versus forcing it upon others. Because as we know, the fitness industry, and as it's developed, is still coming from that bodybuilding, from that super male-driven space where only men lift. And I still get clients, even yesterday, where the first thing they say to me is, I don't want to lift weights, I just want to be lean. And I never thought nowadays I would hear that, and you still do every day. It's still such a dynamic where females don't think they can be strong. They think they have to play out this role of very petite, not really eating, and being just the homemaker, where that's fine if that's what you really want to do, but you don't have to do that just because that's what society says.
So they're stuck between what they actually want to do and trying to fit into the social norm, and
Correct.
They can't really break that.
Yeah, especially in LA, it's even more apparent. It's definitely 10x more out there because it is so Hollywood, celebrity driven. Everyone is not not everyone, but there is more of an eye to the materialistic things in portraying that attitude and approach of having to be that one way or having to be that in that box. And it's just not true. And I definitely shock a lot of people. Sometimes confused, which is fine by me. I take it as a compliment now because I know now I'm opening doors and opportunity for them to start seeing things from another perspective and maybe challenging that their own perspective, where otherwise maybe they wouldn't have experienced that because some people live in a bubble, some people don't, and sometimes you got to just go into the field with an open mind and make sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, because especially in Hollywood with the Kim Kardashians and all the women are super thin, all the women are no one there is bulky or lifting weights, and then all the men there are the ones who are strong in all the movies and TV shows that come out of LA. People try and fit into those stereotypes of men are supposed to be the strong ones, women are supposed to be the petite ones, even if they don't want to fit into there, they still have to do that.
Yeah, and that's definitely a huge thing that I always knew, and it was always something I've battled my entire life. I've had short hair since I was 5, so I've always been through that dynamic. So for me, it's normal to get the comments. It's normal to have people turn a blind eye because or not want to train with me because of my appearance, especially in the fitness industry. And it's one thing I've noticed that as long as, again, it all goes back to authenticity and being a light to people and being positive and giving back and knowing your worth, because people, maybe that one person doesn't realize, but there'll be 5 other people that are walk through that door that you just changed your life because you were the quote-unquote different one, or you were the one lifting where all they've known or seen their whole life was that very stereotypical male-female dynamic.
Yeah. And I can understand that a lot of men, especially in the society, especially the ones that are older that you're probably working with, they're more resistant to seeing the change of having a woman train them instead of an actual man, you know? So.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely where my sarcasm helps.
Yeah.
As I do have to be a little sarcastic, and being from New Jersey originally, a little bit of that aggressive sarcasm helps tone down the men a little bit more. At first, it does throw them off because they're not expecting it. But then you build this relationship where now they respect you. And now they realize, oh, she's coming from a good place. She's testing me to see where my head's at. And we're actually in this together. We're here as a team, as trainers, as coaches, as people trying to change, continually grow themselves and change lives.
So it's a lot of work that you have to do that other men in that field wouldn't have to try and prove themselves to other people. It's a downside that you have to do, but it's getting better as society goes on.
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
It's the one no one wants to acknowledge, but is continually happening in every gym, at every level, and, worldwide. And, yeah, it's making changes, but we have a lot of work to do. Yes. Do I need to be doing it super aggressively or super outspoken? No. As long as you're being yourself, you'll gain the respect. And if you know your stuff and you continue to grow yourself and your clients, your athletes, you're going to be fine. We're going to progress.
Hopefully that's the way, and it seems like that's the way that's going.
Oh, yeah.
So since you mentioned that you are from New Jersey, what made you come to California, especially LA? Such a big change.
Yeah, definitely a big change, and I get a lot where you're from. Even now, over 3 years since I've moved out, the biggest reason I came out here was to push myself academically. So Cal State, University Fullerton, as Titans, we are, especially in the grad program, I graduated from under Dr. Andy Galpin, was the only place in the country where I could get the research knowledge and the graduate degree that I got right now, which for me was something that I knew I had to do to progress myself, because originally New Jersey kind of had it made. I knew everyone knew me pretty much. I was in and out of New York City. I was running strength and conditioning facilities. I was working with NFL athletes. I was comfortable. And I didn't like being that comfortable. And I knew I wanted to go back into academia. I just didn't want to go to a university where the bar was set low. And I wanted to make sure if I went to a university, that master's bar was going to set high. because my thought process always with a master's, especially in strength and conditioning or fitness, was why would I spend all that money on a master's? I can do that in those same studies in the gym or in the facility that I'm working at and actually making money. But Cal State Fullerton was the only place where all the research we're doing, you can't do in a gym, you can't do in a facility, and you are going to get better.
You seem like the person who's always challenging yourself, and you never take the easy way out, even though it is easy if you stayed somewhere else, but you wanted to come here to challenge yourself academically. And even if it was academically, here would have been more difficult than it would have been in New Jersey.
Yeah, so, yeah, 100%. That was the crazy thing, is if it wasn't for my, chosen family, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, who I talk to pretty much every day, challenging me in New York City. I always say it started one cold February night. We were sitting talking, and she's one of the best doctors in the world, and she's challenged me and showed me what Dr. Galvin, what Andy was doing here, and said, you need to get your master's here. And I said, okay. And it just rolled on from there, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life academically.
So what made you stay here afterwards and not go somewhere else after you graduated? You just fell in love with LA?
The easy answer is the weather.
Oh, yeah, it's great over here.
It is quite cold on the East Coast right now, and it's only getting colder.
Yeah.
My mom loves to send me videos or weather reports of how it is there. Then I'll tell her it's 80 degrees here. So that was one way, but also is the opportunity out here, especially in the industry of fitness, wellness, strength and conditioning. The opportunities are sky high here, and you get so many touches with so many different people of all walks of life, where on the East Coast, you get that, but it's a little more constrained, where LA is so vast, Orange County is so vast in the opportunities within the industry that I didn't want to just get up and leave to go home to a comfort zone.
Yeah.
I wanted to really see, can I make it out here? Because you can make it in Southern California, especially financially.
You can make it anywhere.
Like, all of a sudden, Texas becomes real affordable.
Yeah.
If you can make it, so that was my biggest thing, is give myself some years to really apply myself within the industry and in a place that's uncomfortable. Because the first 3 years here, I was uncomfortable academically, but I didn't have to be in reality.
Yeah.
I was in academia, which kind of has a weird non-reality feeling where you're not actually adulting, but you're adulting.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And a lot of people here can relate to it, especially me. I feel like I'm an adult. I'm 20 years old, but I know that I haven't experienced the real world yet. I haven't done anything yet. I'm still in the bubble, in the safe zone of school.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to go right into the PhD route. I have a lot of friends that went right from master's and right to PhD or right to med school, and then I see them years later. I talk to them while they're in it, and they don't know how to talk to people. I call them, professional readers. They can read all the research. They know all the facts, figures, lab testing, but you get them in front of a person or a client, especially in our industry, in the fitness industry, and downhill.
Yeah.
They cease to have emotional integrity or emotional intelligence to even understand body language anymore. Not that that's everyone. Everyone is so different, but I didn't want that to be me. I wanted to be challenge myself, go back into the field, apply everything I learned and everything I did here, and see what happens the next couple years.
I see that a lot in my field also, since it's computer science. I don't know if you know, but a lot of us are very reserved, introverted. We just like staring at our computer screens, and it's just odd to see that a lot of people, they're great at school, but then get them in front of someone else or get them in front of a girl, and they're just not able to speak, and I'm just like, you can do it. But
all of a sudden you're like, oh, are you okay?
They just start stuttering, they can't do it, and I'm just like, that's the issue with school. It doesn't give you that real world experience of speaking to people you're not comfortable with, and it is a comfort zone staying in school, especially since I went straight out of high school into college. So I think this would be my 14th year studying straight. And with that, I noticed that it's easy, It gets a little too easy, and I haven't really experienced anything that's challenged me as of yet. So how long did you take as a gap between your bachelor's and your master's?
Between my bachelor's and my master's, I took a solid, let's see, I was 20. It took me 7 years to get my undergrad because of ACL surgeries, four of them in total, and trying to live out the basketball dream I had. So it took me a little bit longer. Then I had a 3-year break before I went and came to get my master's here. Yeah.
So what were you doing in that break?
During that period, I was finding myself, quite frankly. I dealt with a few things regarding an eating disorder, and I'm a very transparent person, open book style. So, had to go through that in rehab, and kind of the why behind the what, to unpack that further, was after all the knee surgeries, when you tell someone that their whole dream was to play overseas basketball and play professionally, whose career barely got off the ground, that it's never going to start, you have a whole identity crisis. And even socially, I didn't even know what it was to be social, because all I knew was sports. So I had to take a few years, finally came back to get to the degree at William Patterson in New Jersey. But then I knew I had to take a few years to find myself. Who is Kara if she's not in school? Who is Kara if she's not a full-time athlete? Like, who am I? What is my social life like? What am I even like in front of people? So I had to take those years to find that. And then I started slowly progressing back into the field. Started in North Jersey coaching. Came out here for a weekend with Seal Fit to do Kokoro. And that's when my life really started to change, because I realized how much I loved California. It was my first time out there in 2015. 4 years ago. And from there, I realized how important life was, as much as just social life was, as well as academic, as well as your gym life, how you had to have, and I don't believe in balance because I think something's always out of balance, but to be able to understand that you need to know who you are in all aspects of that, in every aspect of life, not just one aspect. Because then if you lose that one aspect, now you're lost. You're in an identity crisis, and you might start turning towards things like certain addictions, certain behaviors that you normally wouldn't, to fill that void.
Because that's the issue that comes with a lot of sports that people play. If you look at most careers, like whether it's business, computer science, being a doctor, there's not one thing that would change your entire career. But if it comes to sports, one injury, you break your leg, you tear your ACL, you're like, things just end right there for you. So that's that risk that people don't, sometimes they don't see or they overlook, but it's very, it exists. It's real.
Oh, yeah.
People don't see that.
Yeah, especially when you're short, and I am already short as a basketball player, so I had to be quick and agile. So ACL's really, after the third one, it was really one of those situations where I didn't want to say no, but medically and physically, I couldn't play at that high level anymore, and I had to be able to step away. And that's when you really start to find out who you are. Even in academics, when you finally leave academia, and then you really find out who you are, because you're not in the bubble anymore.
Yeah.
You're in the real world, and not everyone's so nice.
So that's interesting to see how you would have to change your course, and you took your time to figure out. But after you graduated with your bachelor's, did you know directly that you wanted to do your master's eventually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I say yes and no, because at first I had a lot of people at that time that weren't exactly the best support team or support system. I always say I have a circle of five. Five people want to make a decision that I call, I vent to, I bounce ideas off of. And at that time, I didn't have a very strong circle. I had a lot of people who told me, especially in the personal training world, that I shouldn't go get a master's. You don't need that. You don't need extra school. It's a waste of your money. Look at all the money or success I've had. I don't even have a certification. I was told all those things. So it took a while for me to realize how, not that they were wrong, but how unwrong it was for me in my path, that I wanted to pursue a higher level of education in academia. I didn't want to just make an excuse that, because they said it, or they said I shouldn't, that I shouldn't, because I think the word should or shouldn't is worse than the word I can't. because now you're planting weeds instead of flowers in your brain, and you don't realize over time how much that affects your decisions.
I see where you're coming from with that, because most people will see that with physical sports that why do you even need a bachelor's for it?
No.
If you're just good at it, good at training, then you're already set. But it seems like you want to complete your PhD also, right?
Yeah, so that's a big thing I want to do. I say early 30s because where I want to get it is a very advanced PhD level, and it's in University of Sydney sports science program because it's one of the best in the world. And I'm very headstrong in the sense that once I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. But I know I need these few years to apply everything I've learned here, soak it in on a very real level before I go back in academia, dive into pure research and lab work and working purely with, 100 grand machines and work with 100 grand people instead right now.
Because the thing I really like about you is that you don't take college as it's going to make me more money later, or I'm doing this for my career in the future. You think about it, you're just learning, and you're taking that advantage that school is learning. And a lot of people don't see that. They say, people tell me to get my master's. I ask why, and they said so you can get a better career later on. I tell them I'm taking 2 minors right now. They say why? It's a waste of school and a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm doing it because I like it. I like to take my minors, and that's the benefit of college, and that's like the great beauty of it. You can learn anything, and there's someone to hold you accountable. Because I can learn all my math, my physics, my computer science on Google, but going to a class and actually applying it is a lot better, and it can hold me accountable to actually learning the material on time.
100%, and I get that a lot, probably every day. Someone asks me, well, why do you want to do X, Y, and Z? Do I need my master's? You don't need your master's. Or my favorite comment is, well, nowadays with the internet, you can learn all this stuff on YouTube. And normally I'll tell them what I did in grad school here, and then the comment back is, oh, I guess you can't learn that on YouTube. And I said, well, it's about where you go. You really do your due diligence of what you specifically want to learn, what your subject matter is, and really push for it, push to expand your brain, because academics has been around since the beginning of time for a reason, because it helps people, regardless of money, it helps people become better. And a lot of people get caught up in the money situation, that they get a master's to make more money, they get a PhD to make more money, and that you got to check yourself at the door, because that's not going to happen unless you're very, very lucky. You don't come out of school with any degree and automatically are making 6 figures a year. It's part of the process. You got to still develop yourself.
You're still in that bubble where you graduate, and people realize that, you got your master's, but you got your master's in that bubble. You don't have any real world experience on the outside, which arguably is more important than getting as high as you can in that bubble is not as good as getting maybe 75% in the real world. Yeah. It's not comparable.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of complainers in my day. Even now, visiting around here, seeing, some of the grad students I'd worked with before leaving, and they love asking me about how, the job looks awesome, what you're doing, like you're really making it. And I tell them how up until last week I was living in between trainers' houses in my car, and they're all shocked. And I tell them that to tell them why it's not something you take for granted, or not. You don't take your degree and think that you're all of a sudden going to be making the money. Everything looks good on the surface, but you have to really do the internal and external work and the experiences to start making that money. And so this is the start. It's not the ending, it's the start. And be aware of the shoulds, because no one's going to help you except yourself. Now, are you going to have teammates and support? Of course. But at the end of the day, if you don't continually learn inside, outside of academia, don't expect to make the money through just experiences or just academia.
Yeah, you have to work and make a balance between everything.
Yep.
And it's a lot of real world. The way I'm thinking about it is I play stocks quite a bit, and I've traded with paper money and then putting my actual money in. And I feel like it's a lot like that. When you go into the education, you think everything is going good, life is going perfect, things will turn out perfect in the end, but you're only trading with paper money. It's easy to trade with paper money.
Yeah.
There's no fear, there's no greed that comes into it. There's no checking it constantly, because if it goes down, who cares, you know? But then once you get in the real world, that's like trading with the actual money. You lose tangible things at that point. Or you could put yourself on higher ground that you never were at before.
Yeah, it's definitely an uphill battle, and it's something that I think a lot of people are delusional about what goes on when they get out of here. And there's a lot of people get depressed and sad, and we can go down a whole nother rabbit hole of the psychology of what happens to people when they leave academia, because they think that that's what's good. They're going to get out, they're going to have this great job, make money, and that doesn't happen that way. If it happened that way, everyone will go to school.
Yeah.
If that's how
true,
it happened. Everyone would be in school and everyone would be just fine. But that's unfortunately and fortunately, because I think it's actually a fortunate thing, because it teaches people it forces them into a challenge to actually adult and grind and hustle in a way that is much different than when you're in academics.
Yeah, I really see that even though I haven't personally been out of school, so I don't have any real world experience of that, but I can see where you're coming from, that it is completely different there. And we are in like a delusional bubble where we think everything will be all clear, all butterflies and flowers once we get out of here. But it doesn't really seem like it. I see, thinking about it, like if I'm out of here in 2 years, then there's so many things I have to worry about once it comes to getting a job. I can't just rely on my parents. I can't just rely on financial aid. I need to actually make something of myself at that point. And school, it helps you build like some connections and some understanding, but all it is holding your hand. And once you graduate, it's like they let go of you and they expect you to walk on your own. So some people just aren't ready for that. They don't see that coming, that their hand's going to be let go. And they just think someone's going to hold their hand the entire way.
Yeah. I mean, you will have people helping you. If you're a good person, you have good parents. I mean, I'm sure everyone's situation is different. It's not like you're going to be left. I don't want people to think you're going to be left like completely alone, and all of a sudden you graduate, because don't freak out. It will get better, but the big key and key word is that the challenge doesn't end because you finished school. You have to stay consistent within your approach, with your passion, your purpose, your learning. It doesn't, just because university or college ends doesn't mean your learning stops or the challenges stop. They actually get a little bit bigger, but now you're a little smarter. So you're ready to figure it out.
And hopefully like all that learning and education that you went through will help you face those challenges, or at least give you the right mindset to face those challenges, because that's what a lot of schooling is. They give you some of those challenges where even though you didn't learn the material directly in that classroom or in that homework problem, it's going to be on the test. So it's, can you figure it out, maybe under a time constraint, or maybe with something you haven't practiced before, but can I use the past knowledge to maybe make something up to figure it out? Yeah,
that's the amazing thing about life. It's got a lot of different dynamics, and everyone's so different. The continual human connection that can occur is amazing. You never know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis, or who you're going to meet, or who you're going to see, or who's going to impact your life next, even within yourself.
Yeah. So after high school, when you got into college, did you go directly from high school to university?
Yep. Correct.
And then did you work anywhere in between there?
No, I was a full-time athlete. I had it made. I was
true,
full-time basketball. All I knew was training.
Yeah.
I went to classes, got A's, and was the jock. I was a college jock. I was that chick that I was either, if you didn't see me in class, I was in the weight room or on the basketball court. That was it. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And that's why when all the surgeries happened, it hit so hard, because I knew nothing else. So I didn't know what it meant to be, until 20, until your age.
Yeah.
I had no idea what it meant to be anything other than a university athlete.
For me, I did start rugby this year, but before that...
Okay, I played rugby for...
Oh, you did too? Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting. What position did you play at?
Wing.
Oh, okay. I was the scrum half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was a smaller guy, so I was a scrum half.
I was a little faster, so
I had
wing was fun.
Yeah. So, but up until when I started university, up until now, I've just been working, like just different jobs. I've always just been like picking something up. So I can see if someone told me that I'm not able to work anymore, I'm not able to just get into a different field where I can learn from different experiences outside of school, and they said you just have to stay in school now or figure something else out. I can see where that impact would be put on me, but even then it still wouldn't be as big as the one put on you, since you were doing this since you were young, right?
Yeah, it definitely was I like, my favorite analogy I like to use is I had a shark bite and someone put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
I had this huge wound, and someone just tried to slap a Band-Aid on it to fix it, and it was probably a wound I had had for so long that didn't allow it to heal, or didn't allow myself to understand what reality was, because I was in this bubble of the student athlete, that knowing what was outside of that didn't occur to me. Didn't even think about it once.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now I got to think about it. Oh, there's something called a job. There's something called gas. There's it's $4 and change out here now. So it's crazy. I mean, even going to food, especially in Southern California, food's even more expensive out here. It's just a different realm and new reality that you have to face. And when it happens, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But if you do fall down, you have people around you. Reach out a hand, you'll get back up, and you'll be better for it too.
Yeah. You just got to work on yourself and make sure that you're in the right mindset of facing these challenges and you're ready to overcome whatever comes at you. And it seems like you are that person who was able to do it and seems like is able to do it if anything else comes at you now.
Yeah, you don't got to try to always be the hero. I think a lot of people always try to be the hero, be the individual that always has straight A's, and even
and nothing bad happens to them.
They always have straight A's. They've never flunked a test, but all of a sudden one day something of that nature happens, and they fall down a deep dark rabbit hole. Whether it's mindset wise or eating wise, like myself within food, that's what I controlled, or it's being in a super depressive state. Whatever the case may be, you got to be able to recognize that everything is in ebbs and flows, and the universe, whoever you believe in, is going to challenge you some way or another at some point. And like you said, Ahad, the world is not all unicorn, rainbows, butterflies, and everything's pretty.
Especially when you said you were pretty big in college and you were the jock over there. It seems like when you're the big fish over there, and then once you graduate, once you get out of that, no one knows you, no one knows who you are, then it's like, what do you do at that point? And I kind of felt that in high school I was a pretty popular person, and everyone knew me through that. People I didn't even know would say, hey, and I'll be like, sure, hi.
Yeah.
And then once I get to university, even though it was still in that bubble of education, it still kind of hit that I'm not really anybody as of yet. I still need to make a name for myself now. So I could see how going from university into just the real world and trying to figure things out, it could take a good toll on someone, especially just that big change right there.
I mean, how many people, at least myself, that I've met that finished schooling and they're still living it, not that it's wrong to live at home with mom and dad, but they're not doing anything to change that. Or didn't get the 10th job they applied to, or they applied a few jobs and they didn't get it, and they got super depressed and basically gave up on life. And it's so sad to see, and I hate seeing it. And I've had friends and I've seen acquaintances go through it, and it's horrible to watch. But it all comes down to understanding and noticing with yourself that might happen. But you need to reach out. You need to know that there is something out there for you, and you're going to find it. It's just a matter of staying patient and knowing that if you applied to 20 and you didn't get the 20th job, just means the percentage just got higher of the 21st one being the one you get the job. The percentages increase. I think of it in terms of percentages, that, it's like in sports. If you lost 5 games, well, you got maybe a 80% chance now you're going to win the 6th one, just based off percentages.
Yeah, if you have a 20% chance of winning a game and you lost the first 4, percentage-wise, you will win the next one. That's a 20%. Yeah, but not overconfident. Let's not try and get there, and then you apply to the 21st. And
we don't need that one. Yeah.
But no, I understand that things aren't perfect for everyone. It seems like it, especially with social media nowadays. You see everyone, their life is perfect. And then once you think about that of yourself, that, oh, everything is going good for me, and then once you fall off, the people who come up on top are able to play like the mental game with it, that they're able to get themselves out of a rut. So like facing depression myself, I didn't let it get to me. I didn't fall off from it. I just knew that I just need to get over it, right? It's not like it just goes away. I just need to know I'm just battling it, and I'll get over it eventually. I just gotta do something different. I gotta keep working on myself. I can't lay down in bed, skip class. I can't just sleep my sorrows away. I can't just sit there and just hope for something to change, because it won't. I know that personally. It won't change anything.
It'll be there when you wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
You wake up and like, man, I thought I slept through it. No, it's still there.
Nope, it's
you
still there.
Failed that test, or you still, it's okay.
Yeah.
We've all failed. I haven't met anyone yet. If someone's listening to this and you've never gotten less than an A, call me, because you might not be get you in a harder class or something, because everyone's had that lower grade or that test where now you're freaking out in class.
Yeah.
And you think the world's ending, and you actually got to realize that even when it comes to jobs, I've been told this time and time again, and I can tell you it is true. They could care less about your grades. They just see, did you get your degree or not? They don't see any of your grades. They don't see your transcript. They don't care. They care about when you have the interview, how are you speaking? How are you passionate actually about this position? Is this part of your purpose? And they see the degree. That's it. They don't care that you got a C in math, and calculus too. They don't care. You passed it. So a lot of people get caught up in the numbers and the A's and the B's and the C's, and I know plenty of people that had all D's and C's through college, undergrad, got their ex-phys degree, and they have great NFL jobs.
Because it's a lot like that. Like, we always think it's numbers, because at least in high school, it is a lot of numbers. Getting into college, it's always what's your SAT score, ACT score.
Oh, boy.
What are the chances of you going on prep scholar and then looking at all of that?
Goodness gracious, that SAT.
Yeah, that.
For grad school, taking the GRE, that was a lot of, I feel like I shouldn't speak English anymore based on the English section.
It's just too complicated.
It was a lot of modern English, so definitely makes you question how smart you really are, because it is a big way into getting into grad schools. You do have to have a certain number. So I think people take that and think that's all of academia, but that's just how you get in.
Yeah. And
once you do that, you want to, of course everyone wants all A's, but a lot of times we take it too much to heart.
Yeah.
The difference between A and a B.
Yeah, that's true.
When I haven't seen my transcript, God knows how long.
Since you graduated.
I mean, I know I got A's and B's here, but I couldn't tell you which class or what, or if, I learned how to not think about it that way.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as you get the job that you wanted to. And
Correct.
Even getting that job, it's not, like you said, it's not about the grade, or they don't look at the transcript. It's, can you communicate effectively? Can you show that you're right for the position? And can you show that you will help the company that you're working with? Because that's sort of what they want at the end of the day.
Yeah. No company will ever turn out someone that has a high emotional intelligence, who's actually lived experiences outside of the campus setting, because that's a golden nugget right there. You're now a big advantage to that organization or company, because you understand body language, how to talk to people. If someone's not doing well, how to support them. Even you could tell just by if they're smiling or not, or even a twitch, if something's wrong. Yeah. That weighs big dividends in today's world, especially with what's going on nowadays. It's even more of a rare sighting to have someone like that. So it's even bigger sometimes than the A and B.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. That especially in like most fields, it might not apply to every single field, but definitely in the big ones like business or medical, there's always something that is more than just numbers or more than just your grades. Just being able to think about things and just understand people. And that's why a lot of people that have interviewed before, they got like a minor or got their degree in communications, because that is what tests time. We're always able to communicate, but who can do it the best? We've always been able to communicate, but
who can be fluent in the language. One thing that I've always been positively criticized on, or has been a big growth opportunity for me is being from Jersey. I have a tendency to get excited and talk very fast. So mine has always been pausing and bathing in silence when I'm speaking, or if I say something, a take home or important, to be okay with pausing for a second or two. It might feel like a million years for me, but they don't even notice. The audience, the person you're speaking to, doesn't notice that you just paused. Yeah. That's one of my biggest growths is, slow down.
So we're going to go on a quick commercial break. When we will come back, we'll ask Kara about some quick fire questions and then about some of her hobbies and free times. Okay, and we're back with Kara, and we're ready to ask her some really quick questions. So I just want the first thing that comes to your mind,
boy.
okay? The first answer that you have. Right. All right, so what year did Cal State Fullerton open its doors?
Don't know.
That's wrong. Who's our school mascot?
Toffee the Titan.
What's our school colors?
Orange and blue, a little bit of black, gray.
It's the Wolves.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got that. Yeah. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Spotify or Apple Music?
Apple.
What's the last song you listened to on Spotify? Or Apple Music? I'm sorry, I just bumped into it. I was just like, what's happening? Apple Music, what's the last song you listened to?
Genuine Differences.
Who's it by?
Genuine Differences.
What genre is that? I've never heard of it.
I call it sexual R&B. It's R&B.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So your favorite Cal State Fullerton memory?
Winning the Titan games and having everyone on campus watch me on NBC.
When did you do the Titan games?
Last February.
Last February. So it was when you were on campus, or when you were studying here?
Yeah, and my face being on around campus on the billboard.
Oh, okay. They put it like
on the electronic billboard. I didn't know, and someone told me, and yeah, it was great.
So that was pretty good with that. Did you ever visit the Arboretum on campus?
Yes.
You have. How is it?
Interesting.
Do you recommend people to visit it?
Yes.
Okay. Your must-read book?
Driven by Douglas Brackman.
What's it about?
It is about the psychology and the science behind driven individuals and gene expression.
I recommend you read The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a pretty good book.
I've heard of that book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
also, Why Zebras Don't Have Ulcers by Dr. Robert Z. I always butcher his last name, Robert Z.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's more sciencey books, but great.
Yeah. Your favorite podcast?
I'll say Emily Kyberg's Muscle Medicine.
Oh, okay. I see.
Good friend of mine.
you love all of that.
Yeah.
Driven, motivation, and medicine. Did you ever intern?
Intern? Yes, several times.
Where at? What was the first
place was Freak Strength in Oakland, New Jersey, under Mike Gadengo.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. Greek life. What are your thoughts on it?
Greek life?
Yeah.
Never been a part of it. Never want to be a part of it. Frat Central. And just never was into the parties seen on that extreme.
I see.
They're not all bad. I think they do good things.
Yeah. But sometimes they get a bit extreme.
Yeah, just not my thing.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs. Number 2.
Dogs number 2?
Yeah, dogs and cats. Twice.
Oh, I asked that twice? Oh, okay. I was thinking about that. Favorite destination you've traveled to?
South Africa, Cape Town.
Okay, when did you travel there?
This past May. That was my graduation present.
Oh, okay. Who took you? Your parents took you down there?
No, I went kind of, not a mission trip, but it's with Hoops for Hope, teaching basketball to kids in poverty in Cape Town.
Oh, okay.
And learning about traveling consciously.
Oh, okay. So that does it, unless you want to ask me some random quick-fire questions.
Well, what's your favorite subject in the university right now?
Right now, the class I'm taking, Women and Gender Studies, 100.
Ooh, and what do you feel about feminism?
I like it. It's kind of hard for me to, talk about it as a guy in it, and taking the class has opened up my experiences to it and just understanding of it. And there are a lot of things where I see that women have struggled in society, but I never really understood it until I took the class, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see about it from their perspective, which was interesting.
That is interesting. Huh. How many hours a night do you sleep?
6 hours.
On average?
Like exact. I go to bed at 11:45 and I wake up at 5:45 every single day.
That's always a question I'm interested in when undergrad's doing a couple degrees. Sweet.
Yeah.
Love it.
I just love that. And I have to wake up early because the stock market, pre-market opens up at 6
jeez.
a.m.
Oh, yeah, because
So
New York
15,
City.
yeah. So I get the 15 minutes, brush my teeth, and I'm like, all right, now focus on the stocks for the first half an hour.
Oh, I need to learn from you. Stocks, I need to learn that.
Oh, it's hard. I've been doing
Yeah.
it for almost exactly 2 years now. I started November of 2017. So once I turned 18, and then I was like, yeah, I'll just go for it.
It'll pay off.
Hopefully, because
Yeah.
right now it hasn't so far.
No, it's about life.
Yeah, that's what happens. How many hours of sleep do you get?
Well, lately, I've been getting 3, 4, 5,
Oh.
which is terrible.
Yeah.
We want about 8. Last night, I actually was able to get 7.5, so that was
okay.
good. So, but I'll be better with my averages this next week
That's good.
because I have a little more time. Have the 6 a.m. straight through to 3 o'clock clients, so I can go to bed earlier.
So what time do you wake up?
Typically 4:30 a.m.
Even on weekends?
No.
Oh, no, weekends is your day
You're
off.
supposed to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
They always say like during the week 4:30, weekend should, but no, I sleep until about 7, 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I keep it like around there on the weekends, like an
Yeah.
hour after I normally do.
Yeah.
Just give myself like a little more rest,
Yeah.
make up for it. What was the earliest class you've had? Like, when is your earliest class?
In school,
Yeah, in school.
earliest class was, well, I had basketball practice at 5 a.m. My sophomore year of college. So that was wonderful. Because then I had class at 8. So my earliest class was 8 a.m.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, my earliest this semester is 8:30, but it's never been after 9. I've never started after 9.
Yeah.
I love the morning, get it done, and then
Yeah, you have the
it
rest of
frees
the day.
everything up. Yeah, I'm free to do anything I want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that does it for the quickfire questions. Now we're going to go into any advice and anything that you want to say for people directly in your field or just general for undergrad students.
I would say, for general, this applies to undergrad and graduate students, newly graduated or been graduated for a while, is, like I was saying earlier, check yourself at the door. Competence is a necessity. Make sure ignorance is not bliss to me. Make sure you're continually educating yourself and learn about people and situations and even yourself. But what I mean by checking yourself at the door is that to be aware of the shoulds, as in I should make money or someone tells you should do something, because normally that handicaps you and handcuffs you to what is really the reality you're seeking, because someone told you should do it, or you told yourself, I graduated, I should be making money, or I should have a job. You don't have the life experiences. You don't have to have anything. No one has to give you anything just because you have a degree. So really to check yourself and realizing, I don't like when people say should or I should be having this. No one has to give you anything. You have to essentially take it. You have to be able to earn it for yourself through the life experiences, through the grind, and through your hustle, and being authentically yourself, which is, how we started. Because the way you could do anything is the way you do everything. And that accumulates to even how you shake hands with somebody. So making sure that you stay true to yourself, but also understand that life's not going to be easy. It's not going to get any easier. It might just get better if you choose to listen and check yourself.
And a lot of people fall under the impression that they're unique or they deserve something. They're entitled to get something back just because they did something small, like getting a degree. Mm-hmm. It isn't like small, but a lot of people do it. So what makes them special? And they feel that they are entitled to a well-paying job. They're entitled to a good career, entitled to, like, I see a lot on like Instagram posts. There's this like fancy mansion. They're like, I want one of this. And I'm like, what are you doing that you deserve it? Are you going to work for it? Or are you just going to hope that you get it and never get it?
Yeah, it's like Jim Carrey said. He became famous on Oprah for talking about being broke, homeless in his car, and writing a check for, I think it was $10 million or $1 million check for it, and dated it to motivate himself that, just a blank check, wrote to himself that that's what he wants to make. And then he went and did it and got an actual check for that amount of money. I think it just goes to show the power of a vision and striving for something and understanding within yourself and with others that you're not entitled for anything. And unfortunately, 2019, we live in a society, especially now being in Hollywood, the amount of entitlement I see in trust fund babies, it's very disgusting because that's 0.001% of the population. but we take that 0.001% and think it's 100% of us, and it's not. All the rest of us, we can get there. Of course, we can get there, but we have to check ourselves and understand that every little thing we do matters.
It's all about the grind, that you have to work
Yeah.
on yourself and work on the things that you're passionate about. And the unfortunate part is, even if you do that, it doesn't even guarantee that you get the
Nope.
success later in life.
Nope.
And there's just a lot of issues that come with it, and people expect, and that's why you said before, people fall into this depressive state, that just working so hard on something that you want. Like, there's a quote from Kanye, like in one of his rap songs. It was
The
that
Christian book? The Christian one that
Oh
came
no,
out?
no, it's the one
The
from lot
Jesus
before.
one?
Did you listen to
Jesus
that
Christ.
album or no?
No, I will not.
No, I liked. Well, I'm a big Kanye fan, so even though I'm
Okay.
not Christian, love that album. So good. But he said something like, working so hard and you can't cut through, it can mess up your entire life, just like mentally, that you put in years and years and years of work. And when it comes back to stocks, and since I've been working on it for 2 years and I'm still at a loss, I would know a lot of people who would have given up by now. And I haven't. All I do is just ask my friend, like, yo, can I spot $1,000? I'll put it in, I'll make it back, and I'll give it to you. If not, I'll just earn it and I'll give it back to you in 2 months. I just want to work with it. I want to get better by myself. Even though I'm down in the hole, I'm losing money. It's like, I know I'll get it. I just have to keep working on it, and I have to keep trying new ideas. I just have to wake back up every single day, 5:45, and just get my head in the game and be like, it's a new day. I can change. Let's change what I did yesterday and just figure something out, something new.
Hey, it's always a new day. If
Yeah.
the sun comes up and you're up, win the morning, win the day.
Yeah.
That's how it always works. In anything you do, just
Yeah.
make sure when you wake up, you're doing what you want to, you're living with a purpose. And you figure out your why, write stuff down.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to write stuff down. We're not too into technology yet or be too prideful to not have a notebook.
I do actually have a notebook.
Yeah.
It's a stock notebook. Whenever I make a trade, I write everything down. And in the beginning, I was just, why would I do this? Or I feel kind of bad, like, we're doing it. But then I realized, like, it just helps you become better later on. Like, you just know what differences you can make or what improvements you can make on something that's already good.
And something's going to be so much nicer about actually having a pen and paper out versus typing on your phone. We all have Notepad on our phone.
Yeah.
But for some reason, for me, it doesn't translate the same as having an actual piece of paper and writing things down.
Yeah. You can put, like, your feelings and then your actual thoughts and ideas, and as they come out. And that's why I like writing in pen, because any mistakes that I make, they're mistakes and they're written right there. But if I type something up, I make a mistake, I can just backspace it out.
That could never happen.
Yeah. But it did happen.
Exactly.
So I want it on paper saying it did happen. No matter how much I'll scribble it out, the mistake is still there. If I tear it out, mistake, I can see that. It's still there.
Yep, exactly. Just like life.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that in it. And it doesn't just have to come into, like, a particular field. If it's like an exam, if you failed the first exam, I had an exam today. If I failed it, I have another exam on Thursday. It's a new exam. It's a new day. It's a new topic. Something else I got to do.
Yep, you can't live in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a corny quote that everyone puts up on Instagram, but no one lives by. Everyone likes to put up the quote, but no one wants to live by it.
There are a lot of those where people are stuck into the idea of just thinking about the past, like you said, and people. That's the thing I didn't like about I don't like about Instagram. People are stuck into the, I'm gonna retweet this motivational quote. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna repost it. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna comment. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna add it to my story.
Yeah, I love saying to clients, or especially athletes that like to be on their phone, my comment back to them, which is my favorite line to say to them, which most of them know by now, is, I never read a quote that lifted the bar for me. I've never read one. I don't think there's a quote out there that lifted that bar for me. You can look at it all day long. It's not going to put the work in for you.
Quotes are quotes, words are words, it doesn't mean anything unless you apply it, unless you actually work for it and actually do something with it. And going back on that, I just remembered that over spring, I did put, like, a huge goal on myself, and I got really into fitness over spring. And over summer, I traveled overseas, and I got really sick over summer. And since I am, like, a lightweight, I have a really fast metabolism, and I eat, like, 4 or 5 meals a day. So I was gaining the weight over spring, and then at summer, over the course of 1 month, I lost everything I gained in those 6 months in spring. And I was just thinking to myself, what happened? I worked so hard for everything, and I lost it all. But then the first thing I did, like, I wasn't at school, so I just got a membership at UFC. And
No.
I was like, okay,
UFC
start from
gyms
square
are
one.
great.
Yeah, so I was like, all
I have
right,
a lot of
square
friends that
one.
are trainers at UFC gym. They actually tried to get me to work there.
Oh, okay.
But, LA's got more money.
Yeah.
So gotta work that angle first,
Yeah. So with that, we're going to end it off since the hour is coming up. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
If you do, speaking of social media, if you do want to connect with me, if you have further questions, I'm pretty much an open book at this point in my life. I'll help you in any way or serve you in any way that I can. You can find me at KILERK0 on Instagram. I don't do any other social media. I just stick to one. But if you just shoot me a message on there, I'll help you out.
And then you also have a website where people
Yep.
can learn more at?
Yes, karakillian.com.
All right. So with that, we're going to end it off. So thank you so much, Kara, for joining us this week and sharing your experiences and wisdom with us. It's super cool how you did graduate recently and you were really big. And if you do want to watch any of her videos for the Titan games, they're really entertaining to watch. I watched some of them and I was just like, wait a minute, like this is just super cool that you're doing over there.
It's Hollywood.
Also, how was it meeting The Rock? Did you like it?
Awesome.
Was it, like,
that
big?
guy deserves every millions of dollars, everything he's earning.
Yeah.
It's like talking to your uncle. You know you're a peasant to him, but you forget that you're talking to Dwayne Johnson because he makes you feel like your family. He has that Magic Johnson effect where he lights you up and you have no idea that you're talking to him, and then you leave the conversation, you're like, I just talked to Dwayne Johnson.
But
This
he
just
makes you
happened.
feel like he's on the same level as you.
He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
As long as you're a
Good
hard
guy.
worker, I mean, he's gonna rip you a new one if you're not working hard and you're on his team. But which I had saw as well, but made me respect him more because he cared so much about everyone, and he wanted everyone to make money, everyone to do well. So. He deserves every, $400 million he made last year? He deserves it all because he does so much.
Yeah, it seems like he is like very down to earth and he works for every
Super
single
down
dime
to
that he
earth.
makes.
I wasn't expecting that good of a guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't just putting on for show because I saw him on, off camera, in between days, and he never really faltered. Yeah. Which was weird.
Because he is like a hard worker and I see that in you too. So I can see where he finds that like good sense of community in there.
And I've seen other celebrities that I won't name names of that everyone thinks are great people, and I've met them in person, and they're not very nice.
Yeah.
So
it's a facade they put on for the camera, for the social media.
So I love letting people know that Dwayne really is
down to earth. He's
awesome.
He's a human being.
He can walk in here and act like he's been here 30 times. He knows you all. Where I can't say that about too many celebrities.
I see. So that's super cool that you've met him and it was like fun doing all that. So if you do want to see all that interaction and the videos of her outperforming like insanely, I saw it was pretty cool. So yeah, you could check it out. Just search like Titan Games Kara Lazauskas, and then it's up there, and it's super cool to see that on there. And then, are you also on our Titan Pro network?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to make sure you join it because it's super fun. And we're trying to make a lot of students join it so they can contact alumni. It's like,
oh, awesome.
Yeah, so basically it's our very own LinkedIn site where students and alumni can connect with one another, and they can get like career advice from you, and then you could just talk to them also. And
let's do it.
Yeah, and it's for every single like major, minor that there is. We have alumni for every one of them, and some even want to read your resumes, so they'll be open to that too if you just send it to them.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like super cool that we started that. If you have missed any of our episodes, you can check them out on YouTube by searching for CSUF Alumni, and be sure to join us next Saturday at 4 p.m. on Titan Radio for Titan Alumni Talks.
Woo! Thank you.